I took his loincloth piece and I put it on Artemyss, and I think that looks pretty good too.
DorkLair!
Welcome to another DorkLair collecting video. Today I'm taking a look at the Mythic Legions Artemyss Silverchord 2. So the bulk of my Illythia wave arrived today, and I'm going to be cranking out all reviews for every single one of these at some point over the next month or so. And first out of the box is the Faerie Elf herself, leader of Xylona's flock, Artemyss Silverchord, and I don't have the first one, so I won't be able to compare them, but I'm really excited to get this character in hand. Definitely like a key component to this whole storyline that they're building out. So lots to love about this figure. It's just got a lot of new parts. It's got some unique parts that like aren't really shared on any of the other figures. It's got this incredible bow, cool wings. Love the new head sculpt. The new head sculpt is awesome with all of those braids. Just so much detail here, and the paintwork is top notch on this figure. So very happy to have this one in hand. Let's get into this review. First up, a look at the packaging, and this is one I did order 2 of. So I do have her in box, so you can actually see how she looks for a change from my usual reviews where I rush to get it out of the box and I don't do... I should pre-record the box part before I take it out of the box with these, but I get too excited and I want to open the figure and not fuss around with the video stuff. So here's a look at the bio on the side of the box here. On the back, we have the Illythia wave, Xylona's flock on that side. Pretty straightforward, traditional Mythic Legions clamshell, easily resealable packaging. And next up, we have a look at the details with a close-up here of Artemyss and all the very intricately sculpted details all over this head sculpt. You have some golden parts, you have some antler parts, you have those elf ears, those green eyes, which is a departure from the original. I think the original had human-like eyes, but very cool looking head sculpt here. And then we have this new torso, leather style with the laces up the front. I think that's going to go a long way for various swaps and things. A brand new style shoulder pauldron that actually straps around. That's not one that pegs into the back. And then she has these, I guess they're sort of like folded down. Her wings are folded down. And those do peg into the shoulder pauldron ports on the back there. So pretty cool new shoulder pauldron piece there in the wings, torso, brand new stuff. Pretty neat that she's got one armored arm. So it's like her battle side and then her agile side over here with the unarmored arm. Gauntlet painted with a nice metallic green on one side and a leathery brown on the other with tons of little details right into the straps and the buckles and some gold. And then a look at the skirt, and there's 2 pieces here. There's this new leather strap piece that sits, it seems to be made to sit perfectly over this skirt piece that is from, previous figures. I think this skirt premiered in the Advent of Decay wave, and some nice little details on that leather piece with some pouches. And then replacing what would usually be here, which is a plastic loincloth, we do have this additional skirt and loincloth that is made out of fabric that is nicely tailored, and it has a wire throughout all the sides of it. So a lot of posing options for that skirt piece. And here's a look at the back of the skirt piece. And I'm excited. The reason why I got an extra really was to play around with like swapping parts. And the skirt piece is one of the main things that I want to do with that and try it on some other figures. And then, so I will take the skirt off later as we're getting into the accessories and like swapping things. She does have the black sort of flesh legs that are painted all black. So it's as if she's wearing like tights or something like that. And we have the boots down here with some coppery looking metallics and some leathery looking paintwork down into the feet. And again, all those nice little details painted very well. It always impresses me that this is like factory, mass painted. I know it is generally, it's painted by hand, but it's painted in mass quantities in a factory. So that always impresses me that they're able to maintain this level at a factory level. So very, very cool looking figure. And then here's a zoomed out shot so you can get a sense of the overall silhouette. And now let's get a look at her next to a few other figures. Here she is next to a kit bash of the Shadow Elf Warrior and Ravana on the left. And then on the right, I would say this might be her primary rival. Like this is the princess on the other side. This is Lucretia, the vampire princess. And 2 more 4 Horsemen Mythic Legions figures. On the left is Bardrick, her wave mate and faction mate. And on the right is my kit bash that I did in my previous video where I took the two Figura Obscura figures, Headless Horseman and Krampus, and mashed them together. Next up, here she is next to a couple other lines. On the left is the Masterverse She-Ra that just came out, and on the right is the Tyrus Flare from the Golden Axe Storm Collectibles line, and you can see they're a little bit bigger than her, but not massively out of scale or anything. They're just taller. And finally, next to a couple Mezco figures, on the left is Harley Quinn, and on the right is Conan the Barbarian, and he does have a few parts from Kai Lab. And then here we have laid out all of her accessories. Over here we have the two wings, and you can see the pegs, and those peg onto the back. She has an arrow and the Silverchord bow. That is a big part of the storyline. And then she has the smaller short sword here. It's like a fancy elven short sword. And then finally, the shoulder armor piece here. That is a strap that goes around her torso. For articulation, of course, all that hair is going to get in the way of her having any real ability to look up. So that's about as far as it goes looking up. She can look down. That looks a little weird on the back there. But if you're posing it from the front, it'll just like her hair is kind of like blowing in the wind. And then you can cock her head side to side a little bit. That's on a ball joint up at the top. Arms at the shoulder are on a swivel over here, and then they hinge up into a T-pose. And then they have a single jointed elbow right here. You can twist at the gauntlet, and then the hand twists at the wrist, and it has a horizontal hinge here. I don't think they've done hands packs for the 2.0 figures yet. I mean, I think they did a set for the Cosmic Legions, but I don't think they've done a set for the 2.0 Mythic Legions yet. Just so you can see the range on that other arm over here. There's definitely some paint rub going on at a couple places on this figure that I'll point out as we get through the articulation. But same thing on this side with a twist at the elbow, hinge at the wrist, and then you have a twist at the gauntlet, horizontal wrist. One of the biggest articulation differences between the slimmer 2.0 figures and the larger 1.0 figures is the torso. So the torso on the 2.0 figures, the slim ones like this, is split into two, and it has a ball joint at the top of the torso, which can allow them to crunch this way and back. Then at the waist, where on the 1.0 figures you have a ball joint, you just have a simple swivel over there. And like I said before, the skirt piece is fully posable, so that's, I don't want to call it articulation, but part of posing this figure will be having fun with the way you have the skirt flowing in the wind and whatnot. Legs can kick out and they can kick back. And there is a twist at the top of the thigh. It's very similar to the 1.0 style figures in that it's like way up at the top of the thigh there. Single jointed knee can come up to about 90 degrees. There's a twist below the knee. And that is another spot where I'm getting some paint rub there. The metallic paint is rubbing off on the knee over here of the, the flat black with the shiny metallic. It's rubbing off on the knees a bit there. There's a twist at the top of the foot. There's a hinge that brings the foot up and points the toe down, and then you can rock that ankle as far as you would need it to be. And I feel like these feet, maybe they tightened them up a bit, because I've had some looseness in these 2.0 style figures in the past, and that actually, this one holds really well. Okay, so now that the figure review is pretty much done, one last thing I want to do is just try some swaps. And I'm going to take an elf, that's the lower half of the, the elf Legion builder, and I'm going to put a couple parts from her onto the elf Legion builder. And first I just want to show you, so you can pop the torso off there. This piece is separate. Maybe we'll put that on there. And then this comes off. Then you have the skirt piece there. And then this loops around the waist peg there. So let's loop this here on the elf, and then we'll put the skirt around that. And let's see here. Let's grab the elf's skirt like this. And then we'll pop that torso on like that. That's pretty cool. And then I wanted to also put the shoulder pauldron on there as well. So let's get this over here. And that fitting on? Yeah, that's fitting okay, I guess. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. That fits on like that. And then let's grab the neck piece and the head. And let's take a look at this elf as it is here. Now that's pretty cool. Like, this is fun. I like having the cloth goods to start doing some swaps with. There you go. I think that's a pretty cool look for this Elf Legion builder. Kind of like adds a little spice to an otherwise fairly basic figure. And then I took his loincloth piece and put it on her, as well as his shoulder pauldron. I don't think the shoulder pauldron looks great on her there, but I just threw it on there for ha-has. But yeah, I really like how this Elf Legion builder looks with those parts on there. And that's my review of the Mythic Legions Artemyss Silverchord. Until next time, may the Force be with you.